Welcome everybody to say howdy. And man, I want to say howdy to JDelta 22NC tonight.
Howdy.
Well, man.
Thank you for having me tonight.
Well, I appreciate you being here, buddy. And yeah, we got this new podcast, and it's just called Howdy. And we just want to bring like a bunch of different social media people and stuff like that on here so people can really get to know them, other than just their, video channels and stuff like that. And so, yes, this is the Howdy Podcast. And real quickly, I also want to say thank you to Patriot Mobile before we get started here for sponsoring this. If you have a cell phone, check out Patriot Mobile. Me and my wife Ames, we found out about them, we used them, and then after we were so happy with them, I wanted to get a hold of them and share the love for everybody else that we've got to enjoy. So they're the only Christian conservative wireless company that I know of. And they got great perks like no contracts. Yeah, no contracts. You can keep your number, you can keep your phone, all that stuff. You use code Hillbilly, you get your first month's free. Just tell them Hillbilly sent you, and you'll get that awesome discount. And if they support stuff like our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our veterans, our first responders, and actually I believe the first responders and veterans even get a discount. And what's really cool, other than all this great stuff I've already said, is wherever you are, whatever the best towers you have in your area of the major, phone companies, you get to choose which one that you get. So I know one time me and my wife got locked into a 2-year contract. They were like, oh yeah, we got great service in the area. No, they didn't. But we were locked into a 2-year contract with crappy phone service. Well, this way you get to pick the phone service, towers that you want to use. And if that don't work, you got, terrible service, then like you can switch to a different one, that's better in your area. So it's just a win-win. And plus the part of your phone bill, goes to awesome stuff. I mean, so if you're looking for a better cell phone provider, please check out Patriot Mobile and use Hillbilly on the code word, or just tell them Hillbilly sent you. So, Jose, that's your real name. Sometimes we call you Julio. How are you doing this evening, man? I'm so excited to have
great.
you on.
Let me tell you the first thing. I love that introduction video. Man, that is cool. Number two, I like the colors you got here. Purple. That's my favorite color. And my little princess granddaughter, that's her favorite color. So, man.
Yeah. And your shirt even matches the background.
Yeah,
so
I got a little pink here.
Yeah.
Real men wear pink. No.
You're darn right, man. Darn right. Yeah. You're man enough to wear pink.
That's right. I went to take Cookie to the airport one day, and I haven't got my nice little T-shirt. Everybody looking at me. Yeah. Most of the people look at me as the ladies, and they were just kind of smiling like, oh, look at that guy with a pink T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies are checking you out.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably, they're probably watching me, make sure these old men don't fall down the escalator. I mean, down the
when I was in my young 20s, believe it or not, I was working out all the time. Had the suntan going on.
Yeah.
And I had this one favorite. It's like a almost fluorescent pink tank top. And I loved wearing that thing because Like I'm like, yeah, this is sexy, you know. Man walking around Mr. Pink and Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Well, first of all, Jose, uh, you have two channels, JDelta 22NC and also D Smoking 22. And you are the coconut CEO for both of those channels. So tell us a little bit about your channels, your YouTube channels.
So, trying to make a long story short, so the group I shoot with my team, we call. They depend what day of the week or what move we're in. We are either the geriatric squad or the senior citizen squad. So depends what challenge we are doing, target challenge. But I think it was in November 2023, right before Thanksgiving. We were
Mm,
doing a challenge. Was our first dum dum challenge. Shooting dum dum
the
pops,
Dum Dum
lollipops.
stickers, yeah, or
Yeah,
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 the
the
not
lollipops
stickers, but
at
yeah.
100 yards. And one of the guys said, "Hey, why don't you start a channel?" I said, "What you mean start a channel?" "Yeah, a YouTube channel." I said, "Oh no, I don't need to do that. There's thousands of channels out there with good content. No, you need to try one." So I started, and of course, I like most of us, I had no idea. So uh, I think the first camera I got was it's a hunting camera. I can't remember the name now. Tacticam. I still
Oh,
got it.
that
It still
can,
works.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I did okay. So, and I will not show my face on the videos because I didn't want to show my face.
yeah. A lot of people, there's some
Yeah,
people start out, they're like, I don't want to show my
my
face.
face. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so so the channels started, and of course I was so excited, and by God's grace now, um, I met you guys, and you invite me to the live, and Kentucky and Fire Hobbies invited me and some of the other guys, and
yeah,
so and now we decided to do a second channel where I got all these bling bling 22 rifles. So I decided I want to do a channel just to have all my custom rifles there. And I know not everybody, I'm able to get some of those rifles, can afford it and things like that. So um, I decided that I'm going to make JDelta 22 and see my regular channel. And then you would say the Smoking 22, the B channel or backup channel. But 99% of the stuff the content will be for custom rifles. So
yeah, yeah. And that is awesome. So yeah, he's got two channels, uh, J Delta 22NC and D Smoking 22. That's with the capital letter D and then this Smoking 22. And we'll get on to that a little bit more about like the starting up the YouTube channels and all that. But won't you tell us a little bit about see that's one nice about recording this. I can cut this out.
that's right. You can cut it out.
Okay. So like where you grew up, live and your jobs and stuff. Okay, we'll go that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like, your life and stuff? Like where did you grow up? Maybe where you live? And what jobs, have you had over the years?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you my age. I'm 35 with 30.
I would guess
I,
you for about 32.
well, thank you. Well, I'm 32 this year with 35 years experience pretty soon. So, so I was born in Puerto Rico, right? The island of Puerto Rico. People understand it's a Commonwealth. If you're born there, you're a U.S. citizen. So,
Yeah.
yep. I was born in 1959. So June 27, 1959. Um, and I joined the army in 1977, straight out of high school. Actually, the day of my class day or class night, I was in my first week of basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. So yeah, so um, I got a half sister and a half brother. I haven't seen them in a long time, and I got a sister. It was just me, me and my dad previous marriage, but with my mom, they were married 65 years or something.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
they
is
celebrated the
awesome.
silver wedding anniversary, which is 50 or 60 or something like that. And
Yeah.
I couldn't make it. I think I was deployed overseas.
Wow.
I was in Egypt. Yeah, and yep, I was in Egypt in 1980 something. I can remember. But so
So in the
uh,
80s, I don't. I think that was for dance like an Egyptian. So you
yeah,
probably weren't dancing like an Egyptian when
yeah.
you're
Well,
somewhere in the 80s, I believe.
so we're in the 80s. So I joined the army in 2 August 1977, straight from Puerto Rico, Fort Dix, New Jersey. And then I did my first duty station in Korea, straight out of what we call Advanced Individual Training (AIT). I went to I was a medic, paramedic, whatever you want to call it, the first
Yeah.
aid, all 20 plus years in the military. So
So that's one thing about being a medic, like during the army or whatever division you're in, is all the people around you want to protect you.
right, oh yeah,
They're like,
yeah, it's the
save the
medics,
medic. We might need
yeah,
him.
the cooks, because those guys they got
Yeah.
the food, and then
Yeah.
the personnel. They got your records. They can really make it hard for you. So that's the people you want to make happy. The medics is because a lot of people don't know I was stationed in the 82nd here. I live here now in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So I know
82nd
I'm jumping
Airborne.
all over, but I'm trying to put it together. So
You're 82nd Airborne?
82nd, I did 3 tours there. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, the history of the 82nd goes back a long ways.
Hmm.
I mean, they were, if I don't believe, one of the first. And like, they did some awesome stuff
They
over the
did.
years. I
Yeah.
mean, just like there's stories and stories written
Oh
about the
yes.
82nd Airborne.
So going back home now. So why I decided to join the military is I get that question a lot. So my dad at that time, he worked with delinquent juvenile home in Puerto Rico. When the kids got into trouble, got stealing or drugs, they'll put them in this place until they're 18, so they can be tried as an adult. They're trying to rehabilitate these people and all that. So
I'm
all my
surprised
friends,
I wasn't a delinquent.
yeah.
In that class.
So
I'm really
so that
surprised.
brings me to another point. One day we'll discuss it. I had to walk straight, right? I had to be straight when I walk because dad knew all the detectives and and all them people. I'll be in trouble. I mean, everybody will know. Everybody knew me in town. So
Yeah.
um well, my friends in high school wanted to join the army. So it's a big group. We came like 6 or 7 of us. So I had to go take the test. And then finally I got the test. I got everything done. And I had to get my parents to sign for it because I was 17. So at the time I joined. So,
And this was while
so,
you was in Puerto Rico.
but I was in Puerto Rico. So I brought
Yeah.
the paper. We sit down at the table, we pray, and then we eat, ready to eat. And I told my dad, I need you to sign my papers. I want to go in the military. And my dad says, well, what do you mean you want to go in the military? And my mom looked at me and she started, kind of grinning. Oh, he's joking. And right before we got ready to eat, I put those papers on the table, and she looked at it and she told my father, name is Tony. Tony, don't sign it. He's not going anywhere. I had a hard time. Then my dad trying to talk me out of it. But anyway, long story short, I did join. And long story short,
At
at the end of 20
17.
years, and the rest is history.
Well, that is great. And I tell us a little bit about your experience because I know I got some questions to ask. I know there's some questions for the after show because we always do an after show here. So I know a few uh, topics that's really funny that we want to get to in the after show. But tell us a little bit about your military experience and stuff with the 82nd Airborne.
So, well, I
And
start with basic training, and that's pretty
go,
rough. And I'll tell you guys some stories that we'll probably can do it after the show, after the after show, the extra after the show. But man, when I came to the military, I got an accent, but boy, I didn't speak English at all, but not very
you
well.
could you
I
could
could read
read
it
English and write
and
English.
write it, but I can speak it. So that's another story. So you guys know some of the stories that I had when I was in basic training. Boy, I was so scared. But anyway, so in the 82nd, the first duty station here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, in case the audience that are watching don't know, this Fort Bragg is here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's called Home of the Airborne. Special operations are here and all that.
Hmm.
So I came here 1 December 1978. So you know, I left. Well, I was stationed in Korea after my basic training and the AIT training. You know, the advanced individual training. I ended up in Korea because I wanted to learn karate. So I volunteered to go to Korea. So I did.
All right,
So yeah, I went and learned some taekwondo and all that. You
all
know, kung fu
right,
stuff, right?
man.
Yeah, I've done some of that. So
So, did you ever advance in belts during
I
that?
did. I
Or
made it. Taekwondo Murukan. I think I made it to red belt, which is one belt from black belt.
oh wow!
And
Now,
yeah, and then I yeah
I was told that like in the past, like the history of the belts, that the reason they were like colored different was because when they started out, they had a nice red belt, and then they
right.
didn't change their belt. So the more that they trained, the more they fought and all that, their dirty belt would like change colors. And so by the time they got to the advanced class, their belt wasn't like brown or red anymore, maybe from
Right.
blood or whatever. It was just black.
Yeah. Yeah. So different styles they got. Some karates or taekwondo. Some they got the white, yellow, blue,
Hmm.
green, brown, red, and then black, and then you get one dan or degree, all that stuff. So some other there don't. They only had three. So then they don't wear that. So some styles like
Yeah.
kung fu is more by the experience, and you got to do what they call the forms.
Yeah.
And so I left Korea in 1978. I came here to Fort Bragg 1 December 1978 when I came to Fort Bragg. And in the 82nd, in the 82nd is airborne unit. It's an infantry unit, but we do assault. We do parachute assaults, right? We go, that's what we do specialized, but it's actually infantry, and we use some tactics like,
Like kick ass. Jump out
well,
of the plane and kick ass when you
no,
land.
if after you jump out of that airplane and you land and you walk out of that drop zone, that was a good jump. Even if you walk out limping or with a headache.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was here at that unit, and then I came back in '85, left and came back uh in '90 and '93. So 3 tours. I came back to Fort Bragg, and in '97 I
Three
retired. So
tours.
3 tours
Wow.
in the same unit, the very same unit. We used to call them brigade. Now they call them combat teams. You go brigade, battalion, company, right? And I
Hmm.
was in the same section, which is a medical section. So I was a private. I was a private there that, it's like a newbie. And then I was their squad leader. And then I was in charge of the medical station. And then I was the platoon sergeant when I retired in '97.
Oh
So 3 tours
wow.
in the very same unit office. Ain't that amazing?
That is
So
great.
yeah. So yeah, we did jumps. Most of our jumps were at night, and C-130s, C. I don't know what you call it, C-17 Globemaster. I guess it's the new, but it's not new. It's been on service for a while. That's the big airplane, the jet with the tips of the wings like this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
And
what was uh the scariest? A day jump or a night jump?
well, the night jumps, and I joke because I said all my jumps were night jumps because I have my eyes closed. So you know, you go,
Didn't remember what time of day it was. They were night jumps
yeah.
when
So
you.
yeah, they are. Because during the day, at least you see when the airplane is banking, you get to a position when the pilot he turns when you are close to the drop zone. You get like I think it's a 6 minute warning, and you start getting up and hooking up the stuff to come out, checking your equipment. And around 3 minutes, you get the 3 minute warning. That's when the planes start banking in. They open the doors and they start leveling.
They start
And
dumping you out.
yeah, no, that's to start leveling the light. It's a green light and a red light at the door of the aircraft, and you're jumping both doors, right door and left doors, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so the low master, which is like the person in charge of everybody back there from the Air Force, he'll tell the persons that are doing all this checking, they're called the jump masters.
Mm-hmm.
Jump masters, right? So you get the assistant jump master and the jump master. So when they get to 3 minutes, right, the guy that's hooked up, with talking to the pilots with his headset, and he goes 3 minutes. So that's when you check and you do all the checking, and you got to let the first person on the roll tell them, hey, we all good to go. They open the doors and the
Is
light
that
is
when
red.
you like hook
Yeah,
your
you're hook up. That's called static line. Yeah, it's a
static line up?
36
Yeah.
foot yellow. You put a little piece of wire in there, and that it's like I don't know what you call that thing. It slides in and lock, just like when
Okay.
you repel. So it's sort of like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the jump master goes out and look, and then you jump. Well, I landed in three pine trees 3 times.
Oh no.
That's a little scary because when you jump, they tell you to keep your eyes on the horizon, right? And then after so long, you release your rucksack and it drop down, big cords attached to you. And then you're supposed to keep your eyes to the horizon, but you don't. What you tend to do is bring your feet up, and that's how you break. You have an injury. But you're not. You release the rucksack, and you hear when it hit the ground, you got 30 feet, so you get
Okay.
ready, right? So I released this thing. I didn't hear nothing. I said, I said, wait a minute. I should hear doop, when the rucksack hit the
Yeah.
ground. It's attached to you. And the next thing I saw was a big pine tree branch just into my face.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
goodness.
goodness.
That was scary.
Well,
So,
so like how'd you get out of the tree?
well, I was like 30 feet in the air, parachute
Oh
cut in the air. So, your heart is beating real fast. You check your stomach, sure you're not bleeding. So I'm looking. I was looking. This at night. You get your flashlight out and you look down there. You don't supposed to because you're supposed to have light discipline. But hey, you were in a real emergency. You look. My rucksack was dangling, attached to me,
so what are you
almost 30
touching?
feet, right in the air. I mean, from me, and I had like another 5 feet to go, estimated. So
Wow.
what you do, you release your reserve. You get it look like a little pillow here. You release it, throw it down there, and that's a little longer. And you just take your harness. You got a harness on your chest, on your legs, and then you just crawl on the outside of that parachute all the way down.
Oh, so you have basically a rope to crawl down on.
Yep, kind of, but the parachute and all that all the way
Yeah.
down. So
I
yeah.
didn't know like if you just had to cut your your shoulder holsters and stuff and fall, or if
Well,
you had to
we had a
climb. I didn't
situation
know
that
what you
happened.
did.
Yeah, you had a situation when that happened, but I guess God was on my side. The 3 times I landed on the trees.
Oh
There was
man.
one during the daytime and two at night.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would
I walked away from that drop zone, so that's a good jump.
for me, like jumping, going up an airplane's crazy enough, but then jumping out of it. But doing it during the day compared at night, not being able to know what's below you.
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, that would be seem to
yeah,
be
yeah,
even more exciting and like, well, scary for me personally, but
yeah. I love my Air Force brothers, but the pilots, you know, you have the mercy, whatever they're playing, and sometimes there's a person on the ground called the drop the drop zone safety officer, and he has like a wind meter, like a kestrel there, military type,
yeah.
and you don't supposed to. They don't supposed to drop you out of the airplane if you got 13 knots or more,
Oh
right?
yeah.
But guess what? It's always under 13 knots.
which
At least back then it was. They're never 13 knots. Never. Always lower than 13 knots.
which I guess it also prepares you because like if it was wartime, the wind wouldn't matter. He's gonna have to jump
It wouldn't
anyhow,
matter.
probably.
And you don't jump with the reserve because usually in combat you're going to jump 300 feet probably.
Oh
You don't
wow.
want to stay in the air too long. So
Yeah.
if you jump at 300 feet and God forbid your parachute don't open, you got to cancel Christmas because there's no time for you to open a reserve.
So did
Because
they?
the reserve back then, I don't know now, the reserve don't, when you pull it, it doesn't come out automatically, right? Like when you got that
Mhm.
cord that is hooked up into the cable on the airplane, and when you jump out of that airplane, the body weight and gravity breaks the seal on the pack, and the parachute deploys and it inflates with air. So the reserve, you put your hand on it. It's like a little pillow. You put a ripcord grip, I guess you call it. You dump it. Then you got to get that parachute and throw it in the direction if you're spinning.
Throw it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you're not gonna remember which way you're spinning. All you want to do is throw it and
Yeah.
get it inflated. So, but that's it. So in combat, you don't probably use it anymore. I don't think they do anymore. So
Well, the only jumping I ever done is like we used to jump out of the barn loft sometimes on some pale, deals of hay. Like we tried umbrellas, we tried bed sheets and all that, but it never
yeah,
worked.
and then we'll talk after the show probably on the extra. There was one more scary than that we jumping over Canada about 2 o'clock in the morning, and
Oh wow.
yeah, that was. I thought I was going home to be with the Lord. You see C-130 coming at you about 200 miles an hour approaching you.
Oh no.
Yes.
Yeah, and we will cover that a little
Yep.
bit later
Hmm.
in the after show.
Yep.
So that's the after show with Cooter. Cooter like takes over the after show, so you definitely ain't gonna want to miss that. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we get to the end of this show. But
Yeah.
let's see. Okay, so like the next question I want to ask, you're talking earlier about when you started YouTube and stuff, and so if there's people out there, no matter the age, young, old, whatever the case might be, what suggestions would you have for somebody that's wanting to start a YouTube? Because uh, even like with your age and my age, I mean, we started this later on in life, so I
Yes.
really don't think there's an age limit on, not only YouTube but even social media and stuff. So, from your experiences so far, um, what suggestions do you have for people that you know might want to get into social media?
Well, first of all, if you want to do that, you just got to get out there and do it. You just got to try it. It's not going to be unless you've been practicing all this time. And I know some of my friends, they got, they in college, they have, media. Uh, that's their background, right? Degree.
Hmm.
And you know everything about cuts and introduction and changing scenes, right? I don't think a lot of us didn't. I was lost in the sauce so when I started. So yeah, I didn't know I should have two cameras. But the main thing is to get out there and doing it, right? And
Just quick play.
yeah, just get out there and do it. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and ask questions. You know, sometimes men don't like to ask questions. Uh, like me and Cookie, that's my wife, right? My Puerto Rican princess. Um,
Yeah.
we are going somewhere. She said, "Why don't you get out there and ask at the gas station?" So I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? I'm not lost. I'm just misoriented, right? So
Yeah.
just ask. That everybody that I asked to when I started, nobody ever told me, "No, don't talk to me." You know what I mean? They always willing to help you out, and if you can afford it, get you two cameras. If you can afford it, and you don't have
Yeah.
to have, like a Nikon or Sony, 4K, that do movies like Pixar or things like that. Just maybe an old phone, you know.
Yeah. Just
We got
cell
old
phone.
phone there, you just charge it real good and use that for if you want to do close ups there. And then the cameras, I mean, cameras are come down in price. I mean,
Hmm.
you can get a good camera that is not brand name. It'll do everything you need to do. And there's editing software out there that is free, right?
Hmm.
It's just free. If you got an Apple device, you got iMovie, which is
Yeah.
it's a very basic, but it's a very good platform or software for you to start with. And just get out there and record your videos. And it's not going to be perfect unless you've been doing this for a long time. And even then, we make mistakes. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and as you do it, you'll get better at it. And be receptive. Be open to constructive criticism, because the person is gonna when you're doing things, you're not seeing yourself unless you're in the mirror, right? So there's other people seeing what you're doing, and they might give you some suggestions. Take those suggestions, and if they're good, put it in practice. If they're not, then you know. So, and be open to learn, right?
Yeah.
You got to be open to learn. Like I always said before, I'm a baby at this shooting business. The 22 business, especially. Yeah, in the military, was a medic, but we got to shoot all kind of weapons and things like that. So, but the main thing is to get out there and do it, right? Um, it might be a good first video, it might not be, you know.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know about microphones, and all that stuff and background. I knew a little bit now because that's what I teach now. That was, I was teaching, but I never put it in practice for something like social media. But I'm telling you, you just get out there and do it, and be receptive, be open, be willing to learn, and got to get started. That's the main thing. You just got to go out there and get started.
Yeah. My grandpa always said, I don't know the exact quote, but just roughly said, a person that is not willing to learn, regardless of who's, you know, suggesting it, like even if it's somebody, if you're in a business and it might be like somebody that's a new hire, they might have a great idea that like you've not thought about. But anyway, he always just said the person that's not willing to learn will never like advance and learn anything more than what they already
Absolutely.
know. And and so I've seen that along all of my life. It's like being in excavating and all that. I mean, you be out there doing something, and there might be a fairly new guy on the job, and he's got different perspective, and he's like, well, it looks to me like maybe doing it this way might be the easier way. And it's
An
like,
easier way.
wow,
Absolutely.
I didn't even never even thought about that, And so, yeah, when you close your mind off, then you're pretty much done for. And uh, with cameras and stuff, man, just a simple cell phone, like you said, everybody has most usually a working cell phone, and then
Hmm.
most usually everybody has a cell phone from a year or two ago or 3 years ago that it's not hooked up to like any phone company, but the camera works. It still
Absolutely.
records, and you can start out with those. And then, get cut your teeth on those. And then you can always like grow into maybe getting a GoPro or
Absolutely.
whatever the
Hmm.
case might be.
Yeah. But that's how I started. So I started with uh, a Tacticam. I mean, it did all right, but the Tacticam, it goes on the scope like the ones I got now, like the S18. But then it has a tunnel on the side where the actual camera goes in there, and you have to screw it in there. And
Yeah.
that's the first videos I made. So, you know, uh, I had no idea about editing a video. So, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I've learned it, and it took me a while to learn it. But hey, if once you get started, I know it looks difficult, but once you get started, you learn more and more. I'm still learning stuff from my GoPro that I
Yeah.
people say, you can do that. I say, really? So it's a learning curve, but it's and then I guess the next most important, well, the first will be get out there and do it, and the second most important is you got to have fun when you're doing it.
Oh yeah.
You got to have fun, because if it becomes a tedious, oh man, then you're not going to have a good experience or a great experience
Yeah. And
doing it.
people see through that, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know, you're having fun, and for anybody new starting out, I don't care what age you are, uh, like 99.9% of us feel goofy recording our putting a camera up there and
Oh
recording
my
ourselves
goodness.
talk. I mean, you're like, this don't seem natural,
Yeah.
and
I tell
so
you.
don't be worried if you feel goofy or
I
whatever,
know.
because it happens to all of us.
So you go, like the first time I'm going, oh my goodness, I didn't check see if I have anything in my nose. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness. And then I didn't pay attention. I said, oh my goodness. So, or I mean, but you gotta have fun. You gotta laugh at yourself, you
Hmm.
know. Yeah. I want you guys to understand and learn, about the nice rifle, what it means and this ammo. But the main thing is to have fun.
Hmm.
I mean, I laugh. You gotta have fun. You know.
Yeah, and that's been my whole deal. Is like, if I can't, like laugh at myself and stuff like that, then I'm not having fun.
Hmm.
And then like you get those comments, like dude, instead of doing this, you need to do this, blah blah blah. There's always good and bad comments,
Absolutely.
but like
Absolutely.
just like use those as like this person might just be having a rough day, and
Hmm.
don't take that to heart if it's a bad
Exactly.
comment.
Exactly.
But if it's a good suggestion, then think
Use
about
it.
it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I remember when I first started out my videos, I had the camera pointing at me with an American flag behind me on the stand, and I was shooting down range, and I had another camera down there. And like after like 4 videos or 5 videos, people's like, well, we don't know if you're like 10 foot, in front of the target or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
first I was like, I was like, no, I'm not 10 foot. And I'm like, well, yeah, they have no idea because I'm not showing me and the range on the same camera.
Grammar.
And so
Exactly.
that was a learning lesson. Instead of getting mad about it, I just like, good point,
Good point.
and
You know, I
let's
start.
try to fix that.
Yeah, I start showing me myself in the video, showing my face because one of my subscribers, and I really appreciate that from him. He has the same camera that I had, the range, the long shot but he has picture in picture, right?
Yeah.
And so he was so so tactical about it. He say, "Hey, Coconut, hey." You know, you probably know, but in case you didn't know, you got picture in picture, right? Just saying, you know. And I said, and I knew I got picture in picture, and I said, hey, I appreciate it. And I said, okay, I got it, I got it, I got it. And so I remember the first video, everybody went, oh man, that's you. Now we get to see you. So, and from there on, and because I felt, I was an instructor, so you got to. I can talk to people, I can stand in front of people, but when you got a camera at you, it's a different story because now
Oh
you're more
yeah.
conscious, you know. And like we were saying, you got to have fun. Sometimes I say things in the videos I don't even know what I said. So if it sounds something that might be a word that it might sound like a bad word because of my accent, I edit it, okay? Because I
Yeah.
don't know what I said. I can promise you there's not a curse word or ill intent word. It's just I just don't know what I said.
Yeah. Yeah. I with
Oh man.
with my draw too, there's sometimes people
Oh
like, what'd
boy.
you say?
Yeah. I ask myself, I say, hey Coconut, what are you saying? And I play it back and I play it back and I play it back. Well, let's take the volume out, cut the sound out of that little frame just because I don't know what I said. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
real quick before we move on to our next topic. Um, so when you got out of the army, you retired there, but you didn't stop there. What else did you do?
Okay, so yeah, so I retired in 1997, 20 years, um, 1 month and 1 day, and I
I
went
believe
to
I had a kid
yeah,
born in '97.
yeah. I went to work. Yeah, I went to work for an entity called oh my goodness, I can't. It's gonna come back to me here in a minute, but uh, it was a place that we deal with young people between the ages of 15 and 18 years old. They could be 18 while they were on the program.
Yeah.
That young kids and young ladies that got in trouble with the law or something, and the judge says, "Hey, this is your last chance. Okay, so if you
Hmm.
show up back at my courtroom again, I'm gonna treat you like an adult." So Tar Heel Challenge, that's what it's called. We
Okay.
call here in
Yeah.
Carolina Tar Heel, and that was a very rewarding job. I mean, it's amazing. You got to love young people to deal with them. So,
Yeah.
and then from there, I went to work for the cable company. Went to work for Time Warner Cable as a tier 3. Back in the days of Windows 95. I know
Yeah.
I know I'm
There
Jurassic. I
might be
know.
people listening. It's like, there's a Windows in
What?
'95.
Yeah, Jurassic. I know I'm Jurassic. Yeah, but Windows 95, 98, Windows 2000. So I started as a tier 3. We when the customer called us and had issues with the computer, we'll try to talk you how to fix it over the phone. If we couldn't fix it over the phone, we come to your house and change the network card, whatever, and help you set up. And then we became Spectrum, and very grateful to them. I mean, there was great people to work with. And then after that, I became a supervisor, which I had a crew of young ladies and young men that were technicians. We take care of customer issues, with the services. I did that for
In-house
13 years.
issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, telephone, Wi-Fi, cable, very interesting. And then the last 4 years before I retired with them, on my second retirement, I I was a an instructor. We trained the new hires and all that good stuff on video transport, Wi-Fi, telephone, and all that good stuff. So
Wow. So you
yeah,
retired twice.
twice, yes.
Well, that brings us into our next topic. Uh, so for people out there that might be younger and just starting out, or like even midlife or whatever, um, what suggestions do you have as far as like financing, saving, spending, stuff like that? So if you could go back and uh, talk to the young which you did really good, 2 different retirements, but give us that experience of what like you would suggest for somebody else.
Don't let people talk you, because some of my friends told me that in order for you to be cool, you have to have every credit card that is in the earth. You had a credit card to buy toilet paper, a credit card to buy, gas.
That's
Now you don't.
classic. Yeah.
So I'm telling you, you charge it now, and later on you got to pay. So that's the first thing I will tell them. Do not do that. The second thing will be when you get your job, the first thing you should do, as soon as you're eligible, save on your 401k. Right? It feels like it's going to be hard, but after a while, you won't miss that much because it's you're
And
no
it's
longer counting on that resource right there.
part of your income. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I
So
always, real quick, I want to say if your company matches, I don't care if it's $50, at least invest $50 because that
absolutely,
is free money. And that's going to add up over the
that's
years.
going to add up. And if you can invest as much as I allow you to do,
Mm-hmm.
that you can afford. If you're young, you got a family or something, I understand that. But if they match X amount, talk it over with the wife, you know, uh, and see if you can afford to put the maximum amount that you can put in there. And
Mm-hmm.
believe me, after a few years, you will be very glad that you did. And the other thing I tell is, if you can afford to go to college, I never discourage anybody from going to college. But if you can't, then get your vocational job.
Mm-hmm.
Any vocations you know, like we do in the cable industry, learning technology, like about installing phones or
Hands-on training. Yeah.
hands-on training. I'm telling you, some jobs right now per hour for those skills pay as good as a professional person.
College
I know,
degree or
yeah,
yeah.
college degree. I
Mm-hmm.
know some of those guys right now, they're like 22 years old and they're making 32 beans an hour.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. So
Which he says 32 beans. We're
yeah,
used to the gun channels.
that's
And
right.
when you're talking about guns and stuff, you cannot
I
give
know, yeah,
prices.
I know young
But
guys.
we are
That,
not a gun channel here,
I
so
know, I know, but that's it's that. See that? There
yes.
you go, senior citizens moment. So,
Well, that's
so yeah,
fine.
I know young
Yeah.
guys right now making 32, 35, $36 an hour. That's what probably a professional person makes. Like a physician assistant or a registered nurse. So
Well,
it's
yeah,
good
and
income.
there's some professions like me with my excavating profession.
Yeah,
There's no really college for that,
yeah. There's none.
and there's no degrees. Like electrician, like to get your journeyman, license, you literally got to be on the job for so many years.
Right,
And yes, there is schooling, but not like a college degree. But
right,
then there's some stuff that you do need college degrees, and but I think for me growing up, the hardest thing is like I thought I wanted to be a lot of different stuff, as a teenager. But if I knew people that went that field, they tried it and they're like, "Oh, this is not. I don't enjoy this type of work," you know. So
hmm
at any point, try to get a little bit of hands on before you make that decision because if you don't like you know this type of work and you think you might and you go through this
hmm
college degree and you start your job and you're like say like a nurse and then the first time you see blood you pass out.
That's
Well,
right. Yeah,
that
yeah,
might be a
yeah,
waste of
yeah.
your degree. So yeah, check that out and make sure it's something that you have a passion for.
Amazing. Yep. Those traits, I guess we call it, right?
Yeah.
Are, you're needed. You need excavator drivers.
Oh,
Heavy
everybody.
equipment operators. That
Yeah.
we will always need those. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't care if you're a ditch digger.
Hmm.
There can't be any lawyers, in that building unless there's ditch diggers to put the electricity,
That's
the
right.
septic lines, and all that to it. So yeah,
So
there's
yeah.
no. To me, there's no degree of like who's important because all of it comes together to
He
make
does.
this
He does.
wonderful country that we live in. And so,
He does. Yeah. Be
well,
willing to learn.
we are about to wrap up here, Jose, and
Yes.
man, what a fun time I've had. And we're going to go here when we end this. We'll be going on over to the After Hours show, and Cooter hosts the After Hours show. So we're still going to have JDelta on here and Cooter hosting it. So make sure you check that out too. Um, to be able to see the After Hours show, you have to be a member of the channel. And right now, this channel right here does not have memberships. Hopefully, it will soon. But until then, the VIPs on Hillbilly Up, they will get to see this after show. So it's just a perk for the paid members, which I like to call VIPs. That's literally what I call our paid members, the VIPs, because they certainly are. They support, the channel and all that stuff. So, anyway, if you want to check out the after show with JDelta and Cooter, make sure you're a member of Hillbilly Up or this channel right here, so you can see that after show. And again, I want to welcome you, JDelta, for being here. Man, it's been a blast, and man, the after show is going to be really good because I already know some of the great funny stories uh, that you're going to share over there. So I'm really excited, for jump over there and get to hear some of those. So anyway, thank you so much for being here on the Howdy podcast. Man, we sure appreciate you, brother. And make sure you go check out JDelta 22 NC and also the Smoking 22. And I will put those descriptions down in the I'll put those links down in the description down below so you can go check out JDelta's channel and subscribe if you're not already. And we sure appreciate everybody here. And we are going to leave all of you guys with this. I just want to thank you for being here and, make somebody's day better. And say goodbye, JDelta.
Howdy and goodbye.